either scientists believe in religion or spirituality or not, but one secret that is there is that they also believe in the cross. Without cross, no science can make. And what is their cross? It is time and space. Nothing that can be explained in science without the frame of time and space. Everything is explained into the time and space. Now look at the world that is now in present. In present, we are living into a global village in which the space has contracted, has become small. The space doesn't appear so far now. East and west is not so distant anymore as it was in the past. And likewise, the time has also compressed and become small that nobody point out. And in this cross, we have the answer of how to stop the World War III. And Jesus Christ is the master, is the Lord of the cross, and he is the person who has already solved it. Because one context we find from the gospel, from the Bible, in which we find that Jesus Christ is saying that what he is doing that time, they are not understanding, that we are not understanding, but the time will come when we will understand what he has done that time. That time we find that Jesus Christ is working on this time and space framework in which if you want to make any atomic bomb or hydrogen bomb or any kind of thing, no physics can work without this time and space frame. But we have found that even if many people feel that their science is much more advanced than Jesus Christ's time, but we find that Jesus was always beyond the physics of this time, and he has done a great work, that is to dissolve this frame on which the science is established, this time and space in which but before we go into this context, I want to present with us some overview to explain what I'm trying to say. What I try to say is this, that the knowledge is the greatest weapon of modern time. If you feel that it is hydrogen bomb that is going to affect the world, or it is atomic bomb, or any kind of bomb like weapon, like biological weapon, or anything that is going to affect the world, then you are mistaken, because it is the wisdom of this, how to make this bomb. Sorry, I used the wrong word. It is not wisdom. If they had wisdom, then they are not never going to use this bomb. But it is the finest of the mind that is going to work to create the atomic bomb. It is the highest of the physics, the celebrities of the physics, who has this wisdom of nuclear energy and other energy. Without their knowledge, the world could not get such power, such energy that could use in the weapon. Because we find that Albert Einstein is saying that the World War III is different than World War I and II. In World War III, if something like World War III happens, then we will go back into the Stone Age, according to Albert Einstein, because it is going to be so destructive that all technology, all economical development will be dissolved, because we have the greatest of the physics now in the war. And these things has happened by their intellect. It is intellect. Earlier, it is not like that you have two sticks in your hand and you're fighting, or it is not like that you have sword or even bullet, but it is like some great physics there. The chain reaction will start, nuclear energy is involved. This kind of thing can happen only by great information, great knowledge. And to get information from each other countries have also, so many countries have made this kind of atomic bomb and different kind of bomb. How? These things has been made on the paper and pen and intellect and knowledge and lab and experiment, by which they have created it. Exactly the same thing. A bit of that we read in our science book, but the advanced, the greatest of the scientists are the national heroes of the country who has contributed in making this kind of bomb. So you see, the war the Third World War, the greatest weapon is intellect. That is the root by which they have made it. And also of modern economy, the greatest weapon or greatest power of even of money is knowledge. Knowledge has attained the greatest power in the history, in the recorded history of humanity, as in this generation. Like even relationship, it is so natural, man and woman fall in love, but there are thousands of books, there are thousands of videos on internet in which they learn how to impress a girl, how to manipulate each other, and openly such books are sold and so many people read. So how can a layer has made over even love to manipulate each other, and relationship is also not working because this intellect has no discernment in it. Because in the past time what used to happen is that the parents or the teacher used to be much more intellectual than the coming generation, and they had learned a lot through the experience. By experience, as much experience you have, so much intellectual you are. The teacher who used to be much more experienced used to be considered the greatest teacher, but now the things have changed. A person who has studied something in university, and in 30 years entire syllabus is changing, entire technology is changing, entire science is changing, and what they are going to teach, the new generation will find that it is outdated. Like in medical science, somebody who studied some medical science, some medicine that used to work 30 years back but is not working now. So the person who has 30 years of experience is not going to be so successful now than the person who is now, who had just started this medicine. And if the person who has just experienced and has not updated himself will be of no use in modern time. Like our phone, we have updated and we update into always into the new generation. So new generation is always going to be more advanced, more powerful, and new knowledge, new information is going to explode in this world. Because this information, for this information, you don't need knowledge. Earlier, to understand language of other people, we used to study so much. By experience, we used to get knowledge. But now, if you read a text or a tweet or anything, you just press the translate and it translates almost so many times in many languages. It is almost correct translation that we could gain by our experience. So you see, there is a great difference into two generation now. And why I'm speaking about this two generation, because the wisdom, the experience, it is our experience that wants to stop the war. Because we have experienced it that in two wars so much of danger, so much of problem has happened, but the power that is in hand is always going to be into the new generation. They are so powerful now. And why science has become so destructive in modern time? Because to attain this science, you just need to know the maths, you just need to know the information. It is not so based on your experience, because it is changing so much, it is advancing so fast, that if you have information, if you have technology, without that you cannot understand anything. So it is experience that gives us this discernment to use something or not to use something. But the modern science is not so important. Experience is not so important. If you want to use your new phone, you don't need experience of your old phones. You can start. Just a newborn child who is just born is going to use this technology, and you will find that the grandfather has to learn it from the new generation. So what I want to say, that the greatest power of this time is knowledge, and knowledge you can win any kind of knowledge only by greater knowledge, and the greatest of all the knowledge is wisdom. So by wisdom we can learn it. But how? Always the experience, the older generation that has the wisdom, they will be behind it. They will be always behind, because new generation is advancing so fast. They are always smarter than us. So how can we have this this relationship between old generation and new generation, this wisdom and knowledge is having a great gap, because knowledge is getting lots of information, is always there to challenge the wisdom, and it is wisdom that says that the war should not happen. But knowledge, information has no direction. It is just growing and growing, and it is on the verge of exploding anytime. Anybody can use, because what so many scientists, what they are working on, they have no experience of everything. But if you have the wisdom of love, relationship, you have experienced it, and then if you say anything about love, it is natural. But so many people studying on the computer, on the graph of the love relationship, and then they conclude some knowledge, and then they say something, it is not based on on experience, and they lack this discernment. So that's why the science, the knowledge, the wisdom, or this intellect of modern time is going towards so much into distraction, and only by wisdom we can stop it. And how it happens, we have seen that Jesus Christ has come in this world not as a father but as a son, and he is on the advance on the other generation, by which he develops a relationship to the back. From the son comes the way back to the father, like the cross, and like the cross from the back, like the knowledge, this information that is running so fast into the time, that is on the verge to explode. But on other side of this intellect, Jesus is standing as the son, as the next generation, and from there we learn how to develop a relationship with our past generation. And one more occasion that I mentioned in the very beginning, in which what Jesus has done, Jesus was sitting with his disciple, and it is the time when Jesus is to be crucified. Then just on most important night, just before that, Jesus has to face the trial, but Jesus washes the feet of his disciple. And we see that a master is the person whom disciples should wash the feet. But Jesus has done something in which Jesus is washing the feet of disciple, in which Jesus is making a relationship between the knowledge and the wisdom by himself, a bridge he is developing on the backwards, from the disciple to, like the son to the father, from disciple to the master. Like he is the master, but he is becoming the disciple, and through there he is developing a relationship back to the master. Like he is making a bridge in which the world, as if like the on the mountain a car is moving very fast and is unable to stop, seeing the valley is going to fall down, Jesus is going to make a way of U-turn, that in which the son will go back to the father, like the intellect, the information go back to the wisdom, like the disciple, like the student. Your student will have more knowledge than you, because what you teach now, and when your student reach to your age, then God knows what technology will come after 30 years. So they have more knowledge of this modern time. But Jesus, by washing the feet of disciples, has also laid the wheel of time backwards. Because if in this world the distances become less, then the time spent between two generations has also become very less. Now there is no much difference between a teacher and a student knowledge, and so many times we find that the student get Nobel Prize along with the teacher, because they are becoming closer to each other, and Jesus has helped to make this bridge. And what I'm trying to say, one parable can help us to understand that why such relationship is going to solve this problem, because the knowledge that has led the world to attain such power, and this generation don't have this wisdom to stop this knowledge, or the coming generation, that how this knowledge is going to explode and the world war will happen. And because of this knowledge, this bomb etc has happened, has made. But earlier generation has the wisdom, or the religion or spirituality has the wisdom that can help us to get this discernment, not to use it, but one parable that can help us to solve this issue, to understand, to make the bridge, to contemplate on the bridge. And this parable is like this, that there were two people who get caught into the jungle, and the jungle caught fire. And what was the story of the person was that one person was blind and was unable to see, and another person was physically challenged with the feet, and he couldn't walk. He had problem in his feet, and he could not walk. So he was challenged to walk. He had problem with his feet. So what they decided together is that the person who can see ahead, and if they don't he had the fear that he was the blind, literally, and he had the fear that if he runs, then maybe he will go to the fire, and but because he could not see, and other person could see the fire is coming from whatever direction, but he is unable to run, and he's seeing fire coming. So they make a team, and the person who has the eye sit on the shoulder of the person who had the feet, and he helps the person to run. Like, the old generation has this experience of the war, and they can see that what is going to happen if third world war happen. They have the eye, but their knowledge is outdated to this modern generation. And our they feel that it is old point of view, old knowledge. So they have this wisdom, they have this eye that can help them to show what is going to happen. And this modern generation has the power, this atomic bomb, this knowledge that has lead the world to gain such power. They have this power, they have money, they have wealth. And if both of them make the team, as Jesus Christ has helped always to make a team from the Son to the Father back, because from Father Son always there is a bridge, but what is needed is the bridge back from Son to the Father. From a teacher to disciple there is always a way, but what is needed is the crossway, back turn from the disciple to the teacher again, to the master again. So this cross, if we contemplate on this, that if we can work like this person who could not see but had physical strength, and this side who could see but had no physical strength in that way. So if the experience of World War II or One and this information of modern time, if they team together and they get this discernment, then this war, this thing is going to be solved. And Christ has already worked on it. He has already worked to dissolve this time difference. He has already worked to make the bridge on the U-turn, in which the information or the knowledge will get back to the wisdom. He has already made the way, and through that way, no catastrophe as such is going to happen. And the work is already done. So we are very faithful, we are very hopeful that this generation also attain this knowledge and not use this kind of weapon to destroy or to go towards the fire and burn themselves. So with a prayer for peace and harmony in this world, I thank you for that you listen to this contemplation with so much of patience and love. It's just a one aspect, and there are so many different aspect of faith and hope. And thank you so much. May God bless you. Thank you.